Hey everyone, welcome back to Out of Spec Bits. Hope you're doing great today, and I hope you're ready for another digestible piece of EV information. Today, I'm going to be telling you about what I think is surefire one of the most unique pairings of EVs that a person could have. And hey, I'm biased. They're my EVs. This is the 2024 Land Moto District Scrambler, the electric motorcycle, and behind me is the VF8 2023 Eco Trim from VinFast, and I've been driving both of these, the VinFast for a year and a half and this for a year in October. So I'm going to dive into everything I love about these EVs, the things that I hate about them, and whether or not I would recommend them. If you don't recognize me, my name is Francie. Great to have you here, and I can't wait to tell you all about it today. All right, everyone, I'm excited to start with the 2023 VinFast VF8 Eco Trim, which has been my daily driver for the last year and a half about. So this is the lower trim of this EV model from VinFast, which is a Vietnamese automaker that has come over into the US, and this was the first one that they introduced into our market, and it was the worst reviewed EV on the road. It's got about an 80 kilowatt hour battery and an EPA estimated range of around 200 miles. When Jordan from Out of Spec ran it on the Out of Spec range test, he got 247 miles, I think, and I had a close bet on that. I think I said like around 246. So I've taken this on a lot of road trips to the Carolinas and back, out to Colorado and back, all around, and it's not the worst road tripper, but the road trips are a little bit long. It doesn't have the highest charging speeds, tops out, as they say online, around 160 kilowatts, but I think the highest I've seen is in the 140s, and that's like prime time. But now I charge at work, so I've got workplace charging. Cannot underestimate how valuable that is. I don't go to gas stations, and I don't go to superchargers either, or, you know, Electrify America. So it has these 19-inch wheels, so it's supposed to be the more eco-efficient trim, which means it gets the more range than its counterpart, the Plus, which has a sunroof, maybe nicer interior options, and some other things like the automatic liftgate, just some of those things that aren't included in the lower base trim. But like you might have heard about VinFast, it didn't have a great reputation when it came to the US market. It was actually the worst reviewed EV on the road. So why did Out of Spec and I get a lease for 3 years for the worst reviewed EV on the road? Well, we try things, and we're trying this one for 3 years. We found a lease out in North Carolina for $0 down, $250 a month for this car, 10,000 miles a year. So Kyle and I went out there and we said, heck yeah, let's do it. And it's been fun. It's been fun to see like what this car has gone through in the meantime, and all the changes that have happened. So let me tell you a little bit about what I love about the VinFast. The color, the design, she's beautiful. She gets a lot of attention, you know, she's recognizable. I also love the size. She's really spacious. Why don't you come see in the VinFast? So you've got this interior. Sorry if it's messy. I do use this every day. The AC is on it. It feels so good. I don't know about y'all, but it is hot down here in the south. It's got this interior lighting where you can change the color, which is kind of a fancy feature. And if you come on in here, we have this big old screen in the middle. So it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, if this will focus. And it does take a lot of like inspiration in the UI user interface from other well-known EVs. One thing about the VinFast is that she does make so much noise. She beeps, she dings, she lets you know when someone's there, she lets you know when the car's on. One thing that she has that other, look, you can reduce chime mode, and let me tell you, I turn that on every time and it turns off every time. So, you know, volume reduced 50%, what about 100? Okay, anyways, pet mode. This is one of the only EVs on the market that has pet mode. VinFast does that right. That is one of my favorite things about this car, and I am astounded by how many other EVs do not have pet mode. It's good for groceries. It's good for pets. It's amazing. I like the steering wheel. It's heated steering wheel with heated seats as well. I think the seats are pretty comfy. As you can tell, the screen is pretty smudgy. It's not the best ride, I would say, but it's pretty good. If you go back into the back seat here, it's really roomy. So we got the dog hammock, of course, so my dog Rafiki's back here plenty. You also have like 4 USB-A chargers, which I'll show you, I mean ports, and 1 USB-C, but it does get 90 watts, so I charge my phone there a lot. But up there are 2 USB-As. Let's see, the sound system isn't anything to write home about, but I do get to jam, and that's good. Okay. Those doors are heavy. This is 1,000 pounds heavier than the Model Y from 2019, which is the first car that we drove this side by side with from North Carolina. We drove out to North Carolina from Tennessee in a Model Y, and we drove back in the Model Y and the VinFast with Jordan. There's a video of about that. I'm so embarrassed. The car is so messy, but you can see that it's really roomy. I love that. You've got this storage area under here with no spare tire. Have y'all noticed that? Cars don't come with spare tires anymore. Have you noticed that? Anyways, I changed so many spare tires in high school. It also comes with something that I really don't use, and that is this VinFast. You know, your at-home charger, so it's not hardwired or anything. It's just the 240, and it also comes with a 120, but Out of Spec team misplaced that, so can't plug it into my wall socket at home. That works sometimes. I have had trouble with the connection, and I don't really know exactly what's wrong, but these chargers are a little bit faulty, so that's been annoying. But like I said, or maybe I didn't say, I have workplace charging, which is amazing. Okay, as you can see, that liftgate is not automated. It's a little bit heavy. Another thing that I really love about the VinFast is the self-driving, kind of, the ADAS system, the driver's assistance system. So many letters, there's 4 of them. They mean something, and it means that the car drives itself pretty well on the highway. So it has that intelligent speed adaptation where it'll keep the cruise control, you can keep the gap between someone, but it also stays in the line so well, and it does it better than other cars that I've been in, combustion engine or electric, where you can really adjust where you are in the lane. Like if you're passing a semi, you want to keep the car, you know, on that system driving itself, you can just ease over to the other side, pass them, and go back through. It doesn't cut anything off, and it's really improved over time with software updates. Now, if you go on VinFast website, there is some inconsistent information that you might find. For instance, that there are over-the-air software updates. There are no over-the-air software updates for VinFasts in the US, at least so far. So every time I've needed a software update, I have had to go to a service center. And no, they are not everywhere, although they are in a lot of places, including where we got it, North Carolina, but also halfway in between Colorado and Tennessee in Wichita, Kansas. So that's really the place. I've been there twice to get software updates, going to Colorado and back, and it has been good, but man, I can imagine that while it's really hard to do software updates and be really confident that the software updates are going to go well and you're going to have the best customer experience for your VinFast drivers, it is kind of a bummer to have to take it to a service center to get that update. Otherwise, though, I have needed no service center for any other problems. As we all know, electric vehicles take a lot less maintenance, even though that is one of the main questions I get about this EV. They've never heard about it, so they say, well, where do you take it if something goes wrong? Things don't really go wrong all the time, although it was quirky. With the software updates, I've gotten way less. I got errors all the time. You get in the car, there was an error about this, the sensor is wrong there, but then they'd go away. It was a lot of really sensitive sensors, I think, and they really worked out a lot of those bugs. The VinFast does also have its own app, so come on in here and let's take a look at what it offers. So you can see your battery and your range, your percentage, your state of charge, and VinFast is pretty good at estimating its charge. I've done a lot of road trips, so you can watch those and see how accurate it is. I think it's like 80% accurate usually on the estimated range. Battery and charging, you can look at nearby charging stations. Aren't a lot in my city, although we've gotten more from Electrify America and Tesla in the Memphis area. I don't have any charging subscriptions or anything, but you can set some settings, what's your charge level, and all that from the app. From the beginning, I haven't really been that impressed with the app. Remote controls, like unlock the doors, those don't usually work, but let's see right now. The doors ain't locking, so let's see, will it flash? See, I can't even really interact. So the app it's not great for me. It's not great. I don't love it. And I'm not really confident in this either. I don't really use the app literally ever. Maybe if I lost her and I needed to know where she was, I could look up her location, but that doesn't happen. So don't love the app. I think they could do a whole lot better. I really actually love the VinFast, and I would recommend it for people, especially a lease. I don't think a lot of people recommend leases for a new car or anything, but I think with electric vehicles and how the technology changes and you really want to try them out, you might as well take advantage of a really cool lease, a cheap lease like this one, if you can. So I'm going to miss her at the end of 3 years, but I still got a year and a half left. So I'm going to keep enjoying her, keep driving her, and giving y'all updates. I know I didn't hit everything. I don't want to like totally go into the depths of the VinFast VF8 Eco Trim right here, right now. So leave questions for an upcoming video, and let's get into the motorcycle world. This is my first motorcycle, and this is a 2024 Land Moto District Scrambler made in the USA. That was the big reason why my dad and I actually decided to go in on this, because we both love electric, and we found out about this company up in Cleveland, Ohio. Small company, got a guy up there hand welding this body and everything, and we were just excited to support an electric EV manufacturer in the US. And motorcycles, they're fun. Be safe, kids. All right, some of the specs of this one. Like I said, it's the District Scrambler, which means it's the one that can go off-road if I want, but this is a street legal motorcycle. They do, I think, have some dirt bikes that are not street legal, and you could have some fun on as well. I know electric bikes have been a thing for a while, but getting the dirt bikes, the motorcycles, the scooters electric, the things that you want to kind of go further and maybe have some more power has been a little bit more of a challenge, with battery capacities and energy density and all the technology that we're working on there. So the moment that we can get batteries really, really small and keep the energy really high is when I think electric motorcycles are going to shine. Right now, EV road trips in a car like the VinFast, they're doable. Sometimes you've got to have patience and see the world a little bit differently if you're going to be stopping at charging stations instead of gas stations, but getting far on a motorcycle is a bit hard. So I'd only really recommend it for those trying to commute around town, but it's still a great bike, and commuting around town is half the fun. But an adventure bike with a combustion engine might be key if you really want to go long distances, which might or might not be something that I'm looking at next. Okay, so like I said, we were into this bike because it is made in America. So definitely check out the videos on Land Moto. You can get a tour of their facilities and everything and see what they got going on there. So these start, you know, like probably around $6,000, I think, to get, you know, you can go up to 10 to get all the fixins and everything. And I did get a bunch of fixing. I got these bags, I got this. Back here we can put the box on, which is one of my next projects, is to put one of these, also made in America, Sheffield ammo boxes or field boxes onto the back of the bike. They can lock and everything, and I think it would be a good ad for when I'm trying to go around town, need to put, you know, anything in here. They also make little ones, so check those out. I really like these boxes, but haven't gotten that secured yet, but that would be really awesome. So this bike has a 5.5 kilowatt hour battery, like I said, which is the largest that you can go. That's the biggest battery that you can get. Come in close, come show them the bike. Just walk around and show them the details while I call out some specs. All right, so it can go up to 75 miles per hour, which I have done pretty close going over the bridge on the highway, which I don't love to do, but it sure did pick up, and it also did drain the battery. So going at high speeds, quickly learned that it is pretty hard to go far if you're going more than like 30 miles an hour on average. The range is described as 40 to 120 miles. It's super, super variable. It depends how fast you're going and on other variables like temperature and terrain and stuff. But if you want to go far, it's probably not this one. So like I said, range 40 to 110 miles. The motor power is about 11.5 kilowatts or 15 horsepower. And let's see, there's 4 ride modes. So why don't you come on in here? Let's turn her on. Let's get a feel for this girl. I do think she's really comfortable. I'm kind of short, like 5'3" on a tall day, and can easily hoist myself over. And she's heavy, but I'm able to, you know, I haven't dropped her, but probably pick her up if I needed to. So let's see, let's switch her on. You've got this little screen right here that shows you what you need to know. She's all the way charged up. I'll talk about charging in a minute. I've got 184 miles on here, and let's see. those are the drive modes. So one is like an e-bike. You go up to like 15 miles an hour. Oh, 22 miles an hour. Ride 2 up to 32 miles per hour. Mode 3 up to 70, and then mode 4 70 and plus with max torque. And let me tell you, that does give you max torque. So if I'm like, I'm gonna be wanting to zip around, I'm gonna get up into 4. But I usually ride between, if I'm trying to be like conservative and conserve energy, around 2, or 3 if I'm just trying to scoot around town and go pretty fast. 1 if I'm really feeling the e-bike status, which not always, but maybe if I'm maneuvering it slowly like into the shed or something, then I'll put it in 1 so I don't give myself too much power. There's no clutch, obviously, so this is just a back brake and a front brake, and this is the accelerator. And yeah, you got a little horn. Sorry about that. And some pretty bright LEDs if you want to come get in there. I don't know if you can see it because the sun is coming right at me. Like I said, it is really hot in the afternoon. But yeah, it's you can turn on the blinkers, and I feel really safe on this bike. But one thing about it is that it's not loud. And one good thing about motorcycles and being seen is being loud. So you do got to be careful like you always do on motorcycles. So it's around 245 pounds with the battery that I have. The seat height is around 30 to 31 inches, or 33 inches with the scrambler. Okay, now let's talk charging. So if you'll come over here, take the keys, put them in the little side key over here, and then you open it up, and then you have full access to the battery. So you see this handle here? I could actually lift up this like 70-pound battery, I'm pretty sure, and haul it anywhere to go charge it. You can see right here, this lights up if you can barely see it. You got 4 dots to show you how charged you are. We're all the way charged up. And you have all these different connections. This bike also, we decked it out to have an onboard charger. What does that mean? Well, I can plug it directly into a wall. I don't have to use the offboarding charger, which it also comes with, which is this, which you plug into the bike right here and then into the wall. So this is really convenient if, you know, you can just plug the bike right in, but this is also pretty convenient. It's kind of like an extension cord. So we've done both, and we've even charged it at a J1772 charger. It was like a hotel charger. We were on a trip. I don't know if I have the I don't think I have the adapter in here right now, but I should probably show them that later. I'll get that. But it's just like the NAX to CCS adapter where you can charge back and forth no matter where you are. So in order to charge, you do disconnect these. So come on in here. You disconnect these from the bike. I swear you can do it. And then this one. And then you plug in the charger. And then you plug it into a source and it charges. It takes about, they say about like 5 hours maybe to get a full charge, maybe 6 hours. You know, with cars and motorcycles, most of the time they're sitting around, even though you might want to be riding and driving all the time. So there's lots of time to charge. I haven't timed it myself, but that does seem about right. It is a bit slow charging, but you know. So the voltage peak is 84, the amperage peak is 200. And the charger that is included goes up to 840 watts. So that gives you just a bit of an idea of what this battery can take. I've never taken it out and lifted it out. That sounds kind of like a nightmare. I just plug it in when I need to with an extension cord and then tuck this little guy right back in. If you come in and see here, it's really built out. So you have these secure little pinchers that hold this in place. And then actually you kind of just stick it down in here. Yeah, you can see a good idea of the body right now. So it is pretty protected. We have these guards down here. This is plastic, this is metal, and it stays pretty safe. Like I said, I haven't dropped this bike. Am I jinxing myself? No. But it is pretty sturdy. When it was delivered, it was hand delivered to our house. And I'm sure I'm glistening with sweat right now. But it was delivered by, they hired a company to come deliver it, and when they took it off the car, I think they took it off like a Sprinter, which was weird, and they totally damaged the body of, geez Louise, I'm shoving this in here. They totally damaged the body of this whole thing. It was like cracked. So I contacted them and they were like, oh my gosh, that delivery, you know, we're not going to use that delivery system anymore, or that carrier. And they sent me the parts, and we just reinstalled them. And now we kind of have an extra part laying around. So if I ever want to take it off road and maybe damage and ding the non-replacement, keep this one pristine, we just put that one on. So that's a plus. But I really love this bike. These bags are pretty great. They come with the Land Moto if you want them, and the bike is good looking, it's fast, it's fun, and you can really get around town. You can't go far. That's the only thing. So if you're getting into riding and you want to go far, that's the reason why you're getting into it. Electric's always going to be harder because the technology just really isn't there yet. But if you want to commute around town, you want to have fun getting place to place with some micro mobility versus a car, I like this bike. I think it's expensive. You're definitely kind of making an investment into the company and supporting USA made motorcycle, but I love it. So that's a tour. Happy to let you know more if you're curious, but those are my two very unique EVs, and I gotta bet I'm the only person with this combo, but prove me wrong. Thanks everyone for tuning in for another episode of Out of Spec Bits. It's great to see you all. I hope you're doing great. Drive safe, charge up, stay electric. Bye.